What do you get when you mix a refugee chasing the American dream, a family tree that looks more like a rap sheet, and a light rail system that somehow became the backdrop for 2 murders? You get the chilling story of Decarlos Brown Jr. and the violent dynasty he comes from. Buckle up, because today we're breaking down 10 shocking facts about the Brown family crime saga, a tale of chaos, tragedy, and policies gone horribly wrong. And trust me, by the end, you'll be questioning whether soft-on crime has gone full-on invitation to chaos. Let's start where it all went off the rails, literally. Fact 1. The train ride from hell. On August 2024, passengers boarded the Charlotte Light Rail expecting nothing more than a quiet commute. Instead, 23-year-old Iryna Zarutska, a Ukrainian refugee, was brutally stabbed by Decarlos Brown Jr., a man with a record longer than a CVS receipt. As passengers screamed, video footage captured Zarutska bleeding out on the floor while Brown reportedly said, "I got that white girl." And here's the kicker. This wasn't some random stranger with a bad day. This was the latest chapter in a family saga straight out of a true crime documentary. But if you thought Junior was the only storm cloud in this family, oh no. The Brown family tree? More like a forest fire. Fact 2. Big Brother was already a murderer. Meet Stacy Brown, Decarlos Jr.'s older brother. Back in 2012, he killed a 65-year-old man, then hopped on the same Charlotte Light Rail to escape police. You can't make this up. One brother used the train to flee a murder, another used it as the stage for one. If Netflix greenlit this as a plot, we'd all say it was too unrealistic. Stacy later pled guilty to second-degree murder and armed robbery, netting him 36 years in prison. But prison didn't stop him from being creative, because Stacy racked up 44 infractions behind bars. We're talking assaults with weapons, setting fires, theft, you name it. It's like he treated prison as a side quest in Grand Theft Auto. But hey, why stop with 2 brothers when the whole family plays? Fact 3. Sister. With a rap sheet, enter Tracy Von Tria Brown, the family's third act. Tracy's record is a cocktail of theft, conspiracy, vehicle crime, resisting arrest, and shoplifting. And just to keep the family legacy alive, she was arrested again in 2024 for felony conspiracy and larceny. If crime was a family business, Tracy would be head of HR. And speaking of family tradition, let's meet the man who started it all. Fact 4. Dad was no angel. Either way, back in 1990, Decarlos Brown Sr. was arrested for breaking and entering, conspiracy, larceny, and even carrying a weapon on a university campus. Because nothing says college experience like a felon dad showing up with a weapon. This wasn't just a bad apple situation, the whole orchard was rotten. But let's circle back to Junior, because his story takes an even darker, stranger turn. Fact 5. Junior was a career criminal before the stabbing. By the time he allegedly killed Iryna, Decarlos Jr. had been arrested at least 14 times. He wasn't even supposed to be out. In January 2024, he got released on a written promise to appear in court. Yes, you heard that right. No bail, just a pinky swear. Spoiler, criminals don't always keep pinky swears. And months later, he was back on that same light rail, this time armed with a knife, a violent past, and delusions that make your hair stand up. Fact 6. The Schizophrenia Defense Jr. claimed he suffered from schizophrenia, and in a jailhouse call released by his sister, he insisted the government had implanted materials in his body that forced him to kill Iryna. That's right, he blamed government nanobots. If you're thinking that sounds like a rejected X-Files episode, you're not alone. But here's the tragic part. Mental illness plus no treatment plus endless arrests plus lenient releases equals simply a recipe for disaster. And Iryna paid the price. And if you thought the system couldn't fail harder, think again. Fact 7. The bail reform loophole. How does a man with over a dozen arrests and a history of violence get freed on a written promise? Welcome to bail reform. Critics argue that lenient policies prioritize criminals' freedom over public safety. Even Attorney General Pam Bondi weighed in, saying Iryna's murder was a direct result of failed soft-on-crime policies. Translation: the system rolled out a red carpet for this tragedy, but the horror wasn't just in the act, it was in the aftermath. Fact 8. The viral video nobody wanted to see. The stabbing went viral not because people wanted to, but because the footage showed something unbearable. Iryna bleeding out for minutes while bystanders froze. People online debated why didn't anyone help? Shock, fear, or the brutal reality that sometimes people just don't step in. It wasn't just a crime scene, it was a mirror of human paralysis. And while the internet dissected the video, the bigger picture painted an even scarier truth. Fact 9. A family legacy of violence. Think about it. A father with a record, a son who kills, another son who kills again, and a daughter in and out of jail. This isn't random bad luck, it's generational crime. Sociologists would call it a cycle of systemic failure. The rest of us might just call it terrifying. Because if an entire family tree can grow out of a prison yard, what does that say about prevention, justice, and accountability? And finally, the hardest part of this story, the victim who never got the chance to escape it. Fact 10. The lost future of Iryna Zarutska. At 23, Iryna had already survived war, left Ukraine, and sought safety in the US only to die in the most senseless way possible. She wasn't just a headline, she was someone's daughter, someone's hope, someone chasing freedom. Her life was stolen not just by a man with a knife, but by a system that kept letting the same family of predators roam free. So here's the million-dollar question. Was this tragedy inevitable? Or could it have been prevented if the system valued protection over leniency? Either way, one thing's clear. The Brown family didn't just break the law, they shattered lives, over and over again. And if you're still here, you know this story isn't just about one stabbing, it's about how we as a society decide whose lives matter, and how many second chances criminals get before there's no one left to save. So what do you think? Was Decarlos Jr. a symptom of failed policy, or just the latest storm in a family cursed by crime? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash that like button if you think justice should mean actual accountability, and subscribe for more stories that cut through the chaos with the truth no one wants to face. Because when a train ride turns into a murder scene, it's not just bad luck, it's a warning. And if we don't listen now, history is only going to repeat itself.